It's the age of revolution.
Hi guys, it's Keith here from Revolution Dance. As we know, with the coronavirus, we're all having to stay in, and one of the problems trying to do a class for people staying in is that you may not be partnered. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at different ways of sort of helping your modern jive. So when we all get back there, we'll all be phenomenal dancers, much smoother, much better, and much more confident. So the idea of today is basically we're going to do it over a few weeks, and we're going to break it all down, and we're going to take it really back to the basics, and that is how you should be using sort of hand grips, how you should be using the floor, all the things in a way that you, if you started dancing and doing West Coast swing, excuse me, not talked to anybody for days, if you started to dance West Coast swing, they'd be taking a lot of time over the actual tension in the arms and things like that. If you was doing tango, they'd be spending a lot of time about learning the walks. If you was learning, say, Latin ballroom, you'd be step patterns. In modern jive, we officially don't have step patterns, so to put two people together when they've learnt independently would mean that the likelihood is that they'll be dancing to a different type of beat. Some of us will dance on the beat, some will dance slightly off it, some will dance to the half beat, the double beat, some may be dancing to a drum beat or a bass beat. They may well be dancing to the voice. So because we're not structured in modern jive, which is one of the things that makes it brilliant, because you can actually dance and interpret the music as you wish. But if we was to say do a basic foot pattern for the basic move or the basket, something like that, then what you tend to find is that the ladies may be stepping more or less than the men are stepping, and slightly to a different beat. So we're going to concentrate on getting everybody listening to the same beat, using the same step pattern, the same footwork, going back on the same leg. So that way, no matter who you teach in the country, by the time you all come together, you'll be able to dance the same as you would if you was doing Latin ballroom, West Coast swing or tango. Just because modern jive doesn't have any foot patterns in it doesn't mean we can't put them there. Officially, from what my understanding is, there was about 3 different companies brought modern jive into the country, something like 35 years ago, and when they brought the moves in, they took the foot pattern out. It was brought in from France, and when it was seen in France, it did have a foot pattern, and then when it came to the UK, it was changed, and that's fine, because you know, if you look at the numbers that go to modern jive, then I think most people like it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but if we can put a simple foot pattern back in, it means that you can practice in your own living room, your own kitchens, your own bathrooms, in the garden, if it's a sunny day. And by the time we all come back together, we'll have a much smoother dance. So that's what this video is all about. I'll put this at the front of every video that we do about this, just so that people jumping in halfway through understand why we're doing it in this format. And guys, we hope you enjoy. It will be myself and Jane doing the lessons, because for obvious reasons we can't bring other demos in, and why should I when I've got Jane here? Thanks guys, enjoy. Okay guys, so the first lesson we're going to do is, as we said previously, but it's going to be a basic, and we're going to walk you through that so you can do it independently and together. So it's not necessarily a beginner's class, but it's all about the fundamentals. So whether you've been dancing competitions, whether you've danced 2-3 weeks, or whether you've just happened upon this because you're bored at home and you've never seen to dance, you can learn everything you need to know right here with the Revolution Dance. So first of all, we'll show you the basic move from a couple of different angles as to how it actually looks, and then we'll talk you through it. So put some music on for you as well. It's an added bonus. So the basic together looks like this from this angle, like this. We're going to break, we're going to slide in, we come together, we push back, we bring the lady forward, we go over the head, we return and finish. We break step, start the next move, not to finish that move. So from this angle, we go 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1, sliding 2, 3, forward 4, 5, step flow 6, 7, finish for 8. So again guys, just from this side, we're going to go and let's wait for the beat, and 5, 6, 7 and 8. We push 1, we're in on 2, push down 3, forward 4, over 5, over 6, return, finish. Okay, so let's just knock the music off. What we're looking at first of all is how to lead the lady off on the correct foot, because if the ladies need to learn this independently and then come back and dance with the gents when we're all allowed out again, then what's going to happen is the lady has a foot pattern that matches the gent's foot pattern. So first and foremost, we need to mirror each other. So if we're mirroring each other, as I go forward or back on my left, the lady's going to move her right. Now to help to instigate this, gents, we're going to push down into the lady's sort of palm, and as that pushes down with the back of our fingers, that will go into the lady's hip, and the energy pushing down hopefully will mean the lady will move back on that same foot. So because of this, we've already instigated that first part of the move, so we know we're now matching, because quite often in dance you'll go off on different feet, and that's what we're trying to stop, because if we all work as one, then when we come back together again, we'll be dancing as one, which is beautiful. So the first part, as I push, I'm stepping back on my left to mirror the lady's right. Now the next part of this is something that we've been teaching in our classes for a while, but it's not always taught, and it's what's known as a slide step. So if you just watch Jane's footwork now, she goes back on one, she pushes off that back foot and slides on the lady's left, okay? The weight stays on this left leg, so it allows the lady to pivot and we move round, and we've done all that in 2-3 steps, okay? So what we've got at first is that break, we slide, we stay weighted on that same foot that we had the weight on, the right foot now is free, goes back, my left foot can go back or forward, it's entirely up to the gents. The important thing now is as we bring the lady back, is that this left foot of the gents comes out of the lady's way, and the lady's ready to put the weight on her right foot because we're spinning her to the right, so that makes sense. As we lower to the left, that's a definite beat, we're hitting a beat there, so it's not just there for the sake of it, we want to hit that beat the same as the rest of the moves, and then we'll move the lady back round to finish, and then we'll start the next move from there. So if we do this independently, gents, you can do this on your own. So what's going to happen is, and ladies go into position as well. So as I push back one, it's going down, and I've gone back mirroring the lady, a lady's mirroring the man. As we come back together, what we're going to do is we're going to slide, push off the back foot and slide together. So now it's a bit like parking a car up to a wall. You're trying to make each other level with each other rather than guessing. We're not saying the car is the lady. Okay, honestly. So if I don't do that, what sometimes happens is the ladies are too far away from us and then we stretch in to start with. So if we can make sure we come back to each other, boom, okay? So that's the first part. The second part is this right hand. Often you'll see gents that will lead the lady in and this hand will be down here. Now that hand now has got no control over the lady whatsoever. So all that's happening is it's there and it gives the lady a little bit of confidence. But if I want to do something more intermediate from that move, and we'll go on to that later on another class, but if we wanted to do that, or if we just wanted to make sure if the lady is an absolute beginner, and we need to stop her sort of over-rotating and things, and this right arm is really, really important. And what's going to happen is it's going to dive under the lady's arm, okay? From there, we've got full control. We can even elevate the lady if she starts to collapse a little bit, if she's a beginner. But for those that have danced quite a while, it just gives you a really good frame, okay? So it's now really close. So we're going to bring the lady back. And what I'm going to try to do on this part now is not to over-rotate the lady to start with. I've actually deliberately placed the lady's feet, her right foot, in front of my foot, okay? So because of that, I've left this left arm out, and I'll show you for why. If we start that again from here, if I rotated the lady all the way around, this is how I was taught originally, boom. Okay, now first of all it becomes a little bit claustrophobic, we're quite close to each other, and the lady now has to do a full 360-degree spin all the way around. Okay, and then we'll lower to prep. But if we go from this position here again, and we rotate the lady like so, if I keep this left hand slightly out to there, then it's blocked the lady. She's already done half of that spin, if that makes sense. She's only got 180 degrees now to rotate, so we lower that hand again. So it's easy for the lady. Now think about that when you're doing double, triple spins for the ladies. You've already given her a start of that 180 degrees, okay? So far, this is what we've got. We're going to start quite close together. We're going to break on the left and the right for the ladies. We're going to slide together. We're going to have this arm nice and tight. We're going to push this arm down to the lady's hip, leg in or out. It moves out of the lady's way and it stays prepped out. And then it's fingertip grips. So the fingertip just goes over the lady's head, lowers to the left, returns to the right, and then we're ready for whatever that second move may be. Okay. So the last part of that is the grip itself. And all the way through this, we've got just really little fingertip grips. We're curling the fingers. If we are a beginner or if you got into a bad habit and you start to grip the hand, then what happens is we've lost all that manoeuvrability now. We're twisting the wrist rather than the finger, trying to keep hold and trying to allow those moves to happen. So we can't even get a full rotation anymore. So whether it's the lady or the gent that's gripping or both, it does not matter. The idea is we're now going to do fingertip grips with a little curl. So just imagine you've got arthritis, some of us have, and that little arthritic finger is curled already. Boom, we've got connection. As we go into spins, I'm going to point down and then the lady's fingers pointing up. Okay. The last part of that is because what we're trying to do is, if you imagine you've got a little ice cream cornet and you're going like that and placing it on your head because you're hot, then what happens is that is creating a little cylinder for the man to spin the ladies round with. So ladies, imagine that you've got that, and what you're going to do, as that hand goes to there, the gents are going to push slowly down, you will push gently back, and that will almost ground you back into the floor. Okay, so that will push you into the floor ever so gently. Okay, it's not a competition. So for the ladies, when you're spinning on your own, just imagine you push down into the ball of your foot, and we'll talk about that when we break this up singularly, but just imagine that you're pushing down into the ball of that foot. That will give you some more grip when you're spinning. So it looks like this. We're going to go break 1, slide 2, under the arm and push back 3, forward 4 and place in front, low hand 5 and 6 is the prep, 7's return, and break to start the next move. We're now going to move on to doing that individually. Thank you. Let's do it individually now, and then we'll put that back together again so you can see why it works and also how it can go wrong if we don't actually follow this step pattern. So for the gents, you imagine you've got the lady in the left hand, we break, we come together, this arm goes under, we pivot the lady out, we bring her back in front and block out, we spin and lower, return and finish. 5, 6, 7 and gents. 1, in on 2, 3, forward 4, 5, prep low 6, 7, finish. Back on the left for the men, ladies on the right. So one more time. 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1, arm and slide, prep, lower and break, finish. Onto the ladies part. So ladies, when freestanding, what you're going to do, and we'll do it nice and slow to start off with, is you're going to step back on the right, you're in hold, you're back on the right, you're sliding on the left. As you get to the centre, you keep looking forward, the man will then pivot you around, you'll pivot on the left and back on the right. As you come forward, remember the man will stop you part way through. You can also instigate this by stopping yourself at this point by putting your foot in that rather than coming all the way around. Once you're in this position here, ladies, you can then unwind by pivoting round. You'll go down to a prep and then you'll back over all the way around, going anti-clockwise, back to centre, ready to start the next move. So at one smooth move, you would then go and 1, slide 2, pivot 3, back out 4, round on 5, prep on 6, spin on 7, finish with that little back step on 8. Okay guys, so just put that foot pattern back together again, and bear in mind some of you will have partners, some of you won't, so some of you may have to wait 2 or 3 months, I hope not that long, but to keep it, as we said, similar to Latin ballroom, salsa, things like that, with a simple step pattern, we will be going 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1, slide in 2, 3, block on 4, 5, lower for 6, 7, start for 8, 5, 6, 7 and 8, 1, and slide, 3 and block, 5 and prep, 7 and offer for the next move. Okay, so the last part of this is quite often when we finish a move, the gents or the ladies will sway off. So we may well say, we'll start on, we'll walk onto the dance floor, we'll start like this, we'll break, we'll get going. But when we finish that move, what often happens is we'll end up with a slight twist where the ladies over-rotated or the gents are over-rotated, and we more or less start in the next move from there. So if I was going into a basket, we're then offering the hand, we're going into that twist, we're trying to bring the lady back, and as you can see from there, it then starts to become messy because we're starting at a stretch in a funny angle. Sorry about this, I've got a really itchy nose. Every move that we do should really be from the very beginning where we're facing each other. That's how you should start every move. So when we're at a funny angle when we finish a move, that's when it gets twisty, we start yanking the ladies in, or the ladies start sort of being dragged in because they can't really help it too much because of where they've finished or where the man's finished. Quite often the man will do a spin and he'll spin around and he's like that, and then he's almost saying, come on, over here you come, and dragging the lady through. So ideally what we need to do to stop that is every time we finish a move, we come back and look at each other, okay? Okay. So, on that move we've just done, there's a couple of places. As we go out, we slide in. Now, the ladies, when we get to now, will be looking forward, as will the gents, because that's the direction we're going. We don't want to bump into anybody, and the body needs to be going in that direction, so that's the way we should be looking. As we bring the lady back in, and then we spin, she then comes back to me. Boom. As I prep and then spin the lady back, she then comes back to me. Boom. So we start in a nice angle. So from this angle, if we keep coming back to each other, we go out on 1, we slide 2, we look forward 3, we go 4, we look for our lady, ladies look for the men, we spin back, and we offer the hand. We are now in exactly the same track, the same system that we started with. So as you can see from that, that works. So always come back to look for your fella. The last thing on this is fudging. Now fudging basically means when something goes wrong, we have to put it back right again. Who does the fudging? The man does the fudging. And the simple reason is, if the lady does something that's not quite in time, and then we're out, and then we're in, and we think, right, I'm going to wait for the beat, boom. Then I'm going to move forward or backward, okay, whatever that may be. But I'm going to wait for the beat, I'm going to put it right. If the lady tries to put it right, then what happens if the man tries to put it right? You can't have two rights, it will make a wrong, so it won't come back together again properly. So we have to make sure that only one person does the fudging, and seeing as the man is leading and knows what the move is he's going to do next, it would make sense that the man actually corrects anything that's gone wrong, waits for that moment, and the ladies wait for the man. Okay, don't preempt something thinking, oh, he's going to do this. You just hang around and then go. Just like that. Okay, so guys, that's the fudging, and that's basically it. We're going to show you a little bit for what we're going to do on our next class, which we're going to go, we'll do a crossbody, and it's something that's nice, it's in time, it has tracking, and it's all about control. And basically, it looks like this. We'll do it to music, but it looks like this, and what you'll find is we're going to put it all back together again and do the same again for you next time. So guys, thanks for watching, we really appreciate it. Stay healthy, stay safe, and have as much fun as you can in your own homes. And don't forget a bit of fresh air, keep your vitamin C up, enjoy. Crossbody is one of the few moves where we actually go forward. So we go forward and collect, out of the lady's way, step and turn, and break for the next move. So from this side, so you can just see what I mean by keeping this tracking, we would go forward, out the lady's way, step and turn, and start the next move. So guys, that's what we're going to do next time. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and thank you very much. Thank you, Keith and Janie, Revolution Dance.